When my boyfriend asked to borrow my car for a job interview, I thought I was helping him build our future. I mean, what girlfriend wouldn't? He looked at me with those tired eyes, promising this was his big shot, the one that could finally get him back on track. And for a second, I actually believed him. What I didn't know then was that hours later, I'd be staring at my phone, watching the GPS tracker show my car parked at a luxury beach resort, not at an office, not anywhere near downtown, but at the kind of place couples go for anniversaries and honeymoons. But let me back up for a second, because if you're going to understand just how deep this betrayal cut, you need to know the full story. My name's Rachel. I'm 26 years old, and for the last 2 years I've been holding up my relationship like it was a house built on my back. Rent? I covered most of it. Groceries? On me. Utilities? Netflix? Date nights? Yeah, me again. And Tyler, my boyfriend, well, he was figuring things out. At first, I didn't mind. I loved him. I wanted to believe in him. I told myself, this is what relationships are about. You stick together through the hard times, but those hard times just seem to go on forever. He'd apply for a job, half-heartedly, then give up after one rejection. He'd spend hours gaming, scrolling, sleeping late, while I got up early every morning, packed my lunch, and dragged myself to a job I didn't even love, just to keep us afloat. And yet, every time I brought it up, he had excuses. Babe, the job market's impossible right now. Or, I just need one more certification, then I'll land something amazing. I wanted to trust him. I wanted to believe that eventually he'd step up. So, when he came to me one night looking nervous but determined, saying he finally had a real interview lined up, I felt this tiny flicker of hope I hadn't felt in months. Rach, he said, brushing his hair back like he does when he's trying to look serious. I've got an interview tomorrow. It's a good company, like legit. But I need to borrow your car. The place is across town, and you know my old junker won't make it. And of course, I didn't hesitate. Why would I? This was supposed to be a turning point for us. I imagined him finally getting a steady paycheck, contributing, maybe even surprising me one day by saying, "Babe, dinner's on me." I wanted that so badly that I didn't even question it. I just handed him the keys and told him good luck. The next morning, I watched him dress up in one of the button-down shirts I bought him last Christmas. He kissed me goodbye, said he'd call me after the interview, and I swear, in that moment, I felt proud, like maybe, just maybe, all the sacrifices I'd made were about to pay off. But then, 8 hours passed, no call, no text. I figured, okay, maybe he's still in the interview, or maybe he's grabbing lunch. I tried to be patient, but something in my gut started twisting. That little voice in the back of my head whispering, what if he's lying again? See, I'd noticed some weird things about him lately. His phone, always face down, sudden showers late at night, a little too much cologne when he was supposedly just running errands, and the affection, God, the affection. He'd kiss my forehead, tell me he loved me, right before asking for favors like borrowing money, or in this case, the car. At first, I thought it was sweet, but after a while, it felt rehearsed, like he knew exactly how to butter me up before pulling the rug out from under me. That's when I remembered the GPS tracker I had installed on my car a few months back. Not because I didn't trust him, at least, that's what I told myself, but because my neighborhood wasn't exactly safe and I wanted peace of mind. So I opened the app on my phone, and instead of seeing my car near downtown, near some office building where he'd be nervously waiting for his turn in the lobby, I saw it parked miles away, at a beach resort. My heart stopped. At first, I thought it was a glitch. Maybe he parked near the beach to clear his head before the interview? Maybe the app was off? I zoomed in, refreshed the page, my hands shaking, but no. The little red pin was clear as day. My car was parked at a luxury resort. The kind of place you don't just accidentally end up at. That's when the dread started sinking in. And trust me, I had no idea just how bad it was about to get. I sat there staring at the GPS app like maybe the dots would rearrange themselves, like maybe my car would magically reappear downtown near some office park, but it didn't. The red pin didn't budge. My car was still at that resort, and the longer it stayed there, the more my stomach churned. I tried to give him the benefit of the doubt. I really did. Maybe he had some networking event there. Or maybe the interview was in one of the conference rooms. But come on, what kind of broke 20-something with no job gets a corporate interview at a 5-star resort? The excuses weren't adding up, and deep down I knew it. I felt this hot flush creeping up my neck, a mix of anger and fear, like the ground under me wasn't solid anymore. But before I could spiral, I did what every curious, suspicious girlfriend does in the 21st century. I went online. First stop, Instagram. I searched the location tag for the resort, scrolling through posts, and at first it was just food pics, selfies, and beach shots from strangers. But then, boom, my heart almost jumped out of my chest. A girl had just posted a story an hour ago. She was poolside, glass of champagne in her hand, legs stretched out on a lounge chair, and what do I see dangling from her hand on the little cocktail table? My car keys. The exact lanyard I'd bought from Target, the one with the tiny pink flamingo charm. I froze. My brain started racing, trying to catch up with what my eyes were telling me. I replayed the story, zoomed in, over and over. No doubt about it, those were my keys. And just when I thought I couldn't feel sicker, I noticed her caption, "Best boyfriend ever," with a heart emoji. My chest tightened. My hands were sweating so badly I almost dropped my phone. Best boyfriend ever? Was she talking about Tyler? Was she calling my boyfriend the best boyfriend? I clicked on her profile. Public. Jackpot. And there he was. Tyler, smiling next to her in older posts. At dinners. On nights out, even holding her hand in one picture where she captioned, "He always spoils me." Spoils her? With what money? The guy couldn't even afford his own car insurance. That's when it hit me like a freight train. He'd been spoiling her with my money, my hard-earned paychecks. The nights I said, "Don't worry, I got this bill." The mornings I skipped Starbucks to save cash. All of it had been fueling their little fantasy life. But the dagger twisted deeper when I scrolled further. This wasn't new. There were posts from months ago, meaning this wasn't some one-off fling. This girl actually thought Tyler was her boyfriend. She posted about him on Valentine's Day, on his birthday. She even wrote, "Can't wait for our future together." And here I was, sitting in our crappy apartment, paying for everything, waiting for him to find a job. I wanted to throw up. I sat in my kitchen, clutching my phone, debating what to do next. My first instinct was to call him, scream at him, tell him I knew everything. But then I thought, no, if I did that, he'd just deny it, spin it, maybe even make me feel crazy like he'd done before when I brought up my suspicions. I needed proof. I needed receipts. So I started screenshotting everything. Her stories, her posts, the captions, the comments where her friends said things like, "You two are so cute together." Each one felt like a stab in my chest, but I kept going, compiling this digital stack of betrayal. And then, like fate had a sick sense of humor, Tyler finally texted me. "Interview went great," he wrote. "Might take longer than I thought. Grabbing lunch. Love you." Love you. Those two words felt like poison in my veins. Because just minutes earlier, another girl had called him the best boyfriend ever, while sipping champagne by the pool at a place I couldn't afford in a million years. I stared at his text, my thumbs trembling over the screen. Should I respond? Pretend I didn't know? Should I call him out? I could feel my pulse pounding in my ears, my whole body buzzing with adrenaline. That's when I realized something terrifying. I had no idea who Tyler really was anymore, and if he could lie this easily, how far would he go to keep covering it up? I couldn't breathe. My hands were shaking as I scrolled through that girl's Instagram, screenshot after screenshot piling up in my photo gallery. Each picture was like another punch to the gut. Tyler smiling at her like he used to smile at me. Tyler holding her hand like I was invisible. Tyler paying for dinners I didn't even know about when he told me he was broke. The more I dug, the worse it got. There was a Valentine's Day photo, roses, champagne, chocolate strawberries. She captioned it, "He always makes me feel like the luckiest girl in the world." And do you know what I got on Valentine's Day? A gas station teddy bear and a half-empty bag of M&Ms. He told me money was tight, that he was saving every penny for our future. Meanwhile, he was playing Prince Charming to someone else on my dime. I wanted to throw my phone across the room, but I couldn't stop. I went deeper. Scrolling back months, I found pictures of them on weekend getaways I never even knew about. He always had excuses back then. Going to see a friend, staying late at a job interview, helping my cousin move. Lies stacked on lies, and I'd swallowed every single one. But then came the kicker. A picture from last summer, Tyler, shirtless by the pool, sunglasses on, grinning like he didn't have a care in the world. And what do I spot in the corner of the frame? My car parked right behind him, the same dent in the bumper I'd begged him to help fix. That's when my stomach dropped into my shoes. This wasn't just a recent fling, this had been going on for almost a year. I felt sick. My entire relationship started replaying in my head, like someone was peeling back the curtain on a stage show I didn't even know I was part of. Every moment we shared, every "I love you," every "we'll get through this together," it was all tainted now. I thought about the nights I worked double shifts to make rent, while he job hunted. The mornings I packed him lunch, because I didn't want him to feel down about not having a paycheck. I thought I was building us up. Turns out, I was financing his fantasy life with another girl. And just when I thought I'd hit rock bottom, the universe twisted the knife. That girl, let's call her Emily, posted a story in real time, a boomerang clip of champagne glasses clinking, and guess whose hand was in the frame? Tyler's. His stupid wrist tattoo, clear as day, the one he said he got as a symbol of us. My throat tightened. I couldn't cry, couldn't scream, couldn't even move. I just sat there, staring at proof that while I was sitting in my apartment waiting for him to come home, he was toasting a weekend getaway with his other girlfriend. And the captions. God. The captions. She wrote, "Couldn't imagine life without you," with a heart emoji. That's when it hit me like a cold slap across the face. She thought she was his only girlfriend. She didn't look like someone having an affair. She looked like someone in love. Someone who believed every lie Tyler ever fed her. So not only was he betraying me, he was betraying her too. I felt this wave of nausea, but underneath it all, a spark of rage. He thought he was smart, juggling us both, using me for money and her for an ego boost. But he didn't count on one thing, me finding out. I took screenshots of everything. Every post, every caption, every tagged location. I even recorded the live stories so they couldn't disappear after 24 hours. My phone was becoming a vault of evidence, and every second I collected made me feel like I was preparing for war. But then my phone buzzed. Tyler again. Heading home soon. Interview was solid. Might have a good feeling about this one. Can't wait to tell you more. Love you. Love you. Those words felt like acid. My heart pounded, my palms sweaty, but I typed back the fakest reply of my life. So proud of you. Can't wait to hear. I hit send, my hands trembling, because deep down I already knew tonight was going to change everything. After that text from Tyler, I knew I couldn't confront him yet, not without a plan, not without proof, so strong he couldn't wiggle his way out with another lie. So I became my own private investigator. The first thing I did was make sure all my screenshots were backed up. Cloud, hard drive, even emailed them to myself with a subject line only I would recognize. Tyler had a habit of snooping when he thought I wasn't looking, and I couldn't risk him deleting my evidence. Then I turned back to Emily's profile. At first, I thought it would just be a few cute pictures of their weekend. But no, her feed was like a scrapbook of their relationship. Trips, dinners, little gifts, things that didn't add up with the broke job hunting boyfriend I thought I had. There was a photo from a fancy steakhouse just 2 months ago. She was all dressed up, smiling across the table, and on the plate in front of her, a tomahawk ribeye, at least a $90 entree. Tyler had told me that same night he was working late, delivering groceries for extra cash. I remembered because I ate instant noodles while waiting up for him. I clenched my fists so tight my nails dug into my palms. Every memory of me scraping by just to keep us afloat, while he played Mr. Big Spender with her, made my blood boil. But then came the biggest twist yet. I decided to search Tyler's Venmo and Cash App history. He always brushed me off when I asked about his money, said it was complicated. But when I dug through, I saw payments to Emily. Not just a few bucks, hundreds. One was labeled, "For your nails." Another, "Dinner date." The most recent one, $350 with a heart emoji. That was my money. The money I gave him for rent and groceries. The money I stretched my paychecks to cover. He was funneling it straight into another woman's life. I wanted to scream, but then my heart froze, because Emily had tagged him in a post, not by name but in a photo, his hand on her waist, captioned, "Can't wait for forever with you." Forever. That word made me nauseous. Did she think he was going to marry her? Was he stringing her along with the same empty promises he fed me? That's when I made a decision. I DM'd her. At first, I didn't know what to say. My thumbs hovered over the keyboard, heart racing. Finally, I typed, "Hey Emily, I think we need to talk. I'm Tyler's girlfriend." I stared at the message before hitting send, my chest tight. A million what-ifs spun through my head. What if she ignored me? What if she told him? What if I was making everything worse? But within 5 minutes my phone buzzed. It was her. Girlfriend? Excuse me? I'm his girlfriend. My blood ran cold. I tried to stay calm, but my fingers flew. I live with him. We've been together for 2 years. The car he drove you to the resort in? That's mine. Silence, then 3 dots. Then she replied with something that made my entire body go numb. Wait, you mean his crazy roommate? I swear my vision blurred for a second. Crazy roommate? That's what he told her I was. After everything, after my support, my love, my money, he reduced me to some insane roommate in his little fantasy double life. I could practically feel my pulse in my ears. I typed back, "Roommate? No, I'm his girlfriend. He lives with me because I pay for everything." The 3 dots came back. Then Emily dropped a bombshell. "Rachel, I think we both need to compare stories. Because if what you're saying is true, Tyler's been lying to us both, badly." My hands shook as I agreed. She promised to send me screenshots, dates, receipts, everything. And that's when it hit me. This wasn't just my fight anymore. Tyler hadn't just betrayed me, he'd been playing a whole double life. And now, he was about to get caught in the trap of his own lies. When Emily and I compared notes, it was like ripping a band-aid off a wound I didn't even know was festering that deep. She sent me screenshots of her texts with Tyler. "Good night, my love. I can't wait to build a life with you. Rachel's just jealous and crazy. Don't let her ruin us." I felt my stomach twist reading my own name like that. Dismissed, minimized, erased. I'd given this man years of my life, and he was out here rewriting me as some kind of deranged roommate. But the worst part? Some of those texts lined up perfectly with nights he came home late to me, claiming he was working overtime. Emily wasn't innocent either, though. She admitted she believed him, sure, but she also flaunted him online, called him her future, and smiled for the camera while holding my car keys. A part of me hated her for being so blind. Another part pitied her. She thought she'd found her forever, but all she really had was my leftovers dressed up in cheap lies. By the time Tyler walked through the door that evening, wearing that smug little smirk like the king of the world, I was already shaking, not from fear but from rage. "How'd the interview go?" I asked, plastering on my best supportive girlfriend voice. "Oh, amazing," he said, throwing his jacket on the chair. "They said they'll get back to me soon. Might be life-changing, babe." Life-changing. Yeah, I bet it was, for him and Emily. I kept my smile glued on, nodding like I believed every word. Inside, though, my blood boiled. Every lie that rolled off his tongue was another nail in the coffin of the person I thought he was. That night, when he finally fell asleep on the couch, I sat in our bedroom surrounded by screenshots, receipts, GPS logs, and Instagram stories. I printed them out, laid them in neat piles like a prosecutor preparing for trial, and in a way, that's exactly what this was going to be. But here's the twist. I didn't just want revenge, I wanted justice. So I sent Emily one final message. Do you want to see the truth face to face? Because I think it's time we both stop being his puppets. She agreed instantly. And that's when I set the trap. The next day, I told Tyler I wanted to celebrate his big interview with a special dinner at home. I acted giddy, told him I'd cook his favorite meal. He didn't suspect a thing. Why would he? He thought he had me wrapped so tight around his finger that I'd believe anything. Meanwhile, Emily and I coordinated. She promised to bring her phone loaded with proof. I'd have the GPS logs and receipts ready. Together, we'd finally strip the mask off the man who'd been playing us both. But here's the thing about betrayal. It doesn't just hurt, it transforms you. And by the time I finished setting the table that night, I realized I wasn't the weak, naive girlfriend he thought I was anymore. I was the storm he never saw coming. And when Emily knocked on the door, right on cue, I knew the next hour of his life was going to be the longest and most humiliating he'd ever experience. The night of the celebration dinner felt electric, like the air before a thunderstorm. Tyler sat across from me at the table, shoveling forkfuls of steak into his mouth, like he'd just conquered the world. "You're really proud of me, huh?" he asked, smirking. "Oh, more than you'll ever know," I said, my voice dripping with sugar. My hands trembled under the table, not with fear, but with the anticipation of what was about to happen. Right then, there was a knock at the door. Tyler looked confused. Expecting someone? I forced a smile. Actually, yes. When I opened the door, Emily stepped inside, phone in hand, her face pale but determined. Tyler's fork froze midair. The color drained from his face faster than a tide pulling out to sea. What the hell is she doing here?" he stammered. Emily didn't hesitate. She tossed her phone onto the table. Photos, texts, videos, his promises to her, his lies about me, all lit up the screen like fireworks of betrayal. I leaned in, sliding a stack of printed GPS logs and screenshots right beside her phone. "Funny?" I said calmly, "because while you were at your so-called job interview, my car was parked here." I tapped the highlighted resort address, and Emily was posting our car keys all over Instagram. Tyler jumped up, hands raised defensively. "Rachel, baby, it's not what it looks like." "Not what it looks like?" Emily cut in, her voice sharp. "You told me she was your roommate. You called her insane, said she was obsessed with you." "Roommate," I repeated, my blood boiling. "You've been living off my paycheck, my car, my apartment, and you've been calling me your crazy roommate." He sputtered, glancing between us, searching for a way out, the way liars always do when the walls close in. But this time, there was no exit. I picked up the remote and clicked the TV on. Projected onto the big screen were Instagram stories of Emily clinking champagne glasses with him, his arm draped over her shoulders, my car keys dangling between them like some kind of twisted trophy. The silence that followed was deafening. Tyler's jaw clenched, eyes darting like a trapped animal. Then he snapped. "You planned this?" he roared, slamming his fist on the table. "Yes," I said, standing tall, "because I wanted you to see what it feels like to have no control, to watch everything unravel in front of you, just like you did to me." Emily stepped closer, her voice icy. "You don't get to have either of us. We're done being your playthings." For a split second, I saw fear flash in his eyes, the fear of a man who finally realized the jig was up. He grabbed his jacket, muttering curses, and stormed toward the door. But before he left, I called out one last line that made him freeze mid-step. "Tyler, you didn't just lose me tonight. You lost your free ride. The Bank of Rachel is permanently closed." The door slammed behind him, leaving only the sound of my heartbeat thundering in my ears. And just like that, the man who thought he could juggle lies and women with ease finally dropped everything and lost it all. The door slammed so hard the walls rattled, but I didn't flinch. For the first time in months, maybe years, the air in my apartment felt lighter. Tyler was gone. Emily stood there silently, scrolling through the evidence one last time. Her face softened as she looked up at me. "I'm sorry, I honestly thought you were the side piece." I gave a small laugh, though it was sharp and bitter. "Trust me, I thought the same about you." We both sat down, two women bound by betrayal, untangling Tyler's web together. She showed me messages where he promised her trips, rings, a future. I showed her bank statements where my hard-earned money had mysteriously disappeared to fund those exact luxuries. And in that moment I realized Tyler hadn't just cheated on me, he'd robbed me of my love, my trust, and my sacrifices. But never again. The next morning, Tyler's calls started, dozens of them. At first, voicemails filled with excuses. "Rachel, you misunderstood, I love you. She doesn't mean anything." Then they turned to anger. "You ruined my life. How could you humiliate me like that?" Finally, the last stage begging, "Please, just one more chance. I'll change, I'll get a real job this time." I didn't answer a single one. Block, block, block. A week later, word spread fast. Turns out, Tyler had a history. Other women, other lies. His charm had been nothing more than a mask. And now, everyone knew the truth. He lost his friends, his reputation, and even the girl he thought would replace me. Meanwhile, I felt myself changing too. I stopped apologizing for things that weren't my fault. I reclaimed my time, my money, my confidence. I poured my energy back into me. One night, sitting alone with a glass of wine, I opened my laptop and shared my story online. I didn't sugarcoat it. I didn't protect him. I laid it all bare. The GPS tracker, the resort, the Instagram stories, the lies. Within hours, the comments poured in. Girl, you dodged a bullet. This was pure FBI-level investigation. Respect. I went through something similar, and reading this gave me the courage to leave. That's when it hit me. My pain had turned into someone else's strength. And as I typed my final line into that post, I felt a smile spread across my face. He thought he was the best boyfriend ever. But really, I was the best escape he never saw coming, and next time I'll never let anyone use my love as their free ride. For once, I wasn't the girl who got betrayed. I was the woman who got free.